appears we are live. What's up, everybody? It's G Mr. Drew here to welcome you to another episode of the Andrew Glowczewski Experience. I still reeling from yesterday. This weekend is a crazy weekend, and it's just a lead up to whatever crazy times I'm gonna be heading into in a little bit. But yeah, we got the news about DMX yesterday. I talked about it very briefly. He had he'd been in the hospital for a little bit. They say OD and this, that, and the other. And once it's just been a rough year or so with deaths and everything. And anytime like health has come up in the past year or so, it's never a good sign. So yeah, to put an OD on top of that, it seemed like he had a bad couple of days or something, and then yeah, it got the news today. Um, I was in my car driving, and I have a classic car, so I play radio while I drive, and I was just flipping through stations, and then listening to music, and then once I switched to a certain channel, they were playing DMX, and I was like, oh, okay, and then the radio DJ, let me adjust this camera, was like, in memory of or whatever, like saying it in the way of not just, oh, hey, he's in the that he's in critical condition, but to say that he's passed kind of way. And yeah, the more I listened, I was just like, damn, you know, ugh, it just doesn't stop, does it? So I just wanted to do a tribute for him. Uh, Now that it's been like a day and I've had time to sit there and sit here and think about it and process it a bit and you know just let it be. But yeah, man, it's it's sad. I got into DMX. I mentioned in yesterday's stream, like around, it was in sixth grade. I mean, I'm sure I knew of DMX before that, and Rough Riders and everything like that, just from the radio when I was a kid. But I was in sixth grade, about year 2000, and he dropped his third album, and then there was X, and yeah, that was the first X album I bought. I bought all of them, I have It's Dark, Hell is Hot. I have uh shit. I'm blanking on the names right now. I'm trying not to mess up the bass structure here. Um, but either way, I got all the albums. Why am I blanking on the second album name? It's Dark, Hell is Hot. That there's Blood of My Blood. Um, Flesh of My Flesh, Blood of My Blood. Duh. And then because I could see the album in my head, I was like, he was covered in blood. What's why can't I remember the name right now? And yeah, so but yeah, I was in sixth grade when the third album came out. So that was my beginning. And I mean that intro, I mean just the intro alone to that album, man. You don't forget it. He had so many good songs on there. Um, since I was so young listening to it. He had that song about Shorty, and this is before we were calling girls Shorty. He was talking to like some dude, and he had a song on there talking about just a kid who grew up, and he was kind of mentoring him and whatever, and me being that young, sixth grade, probably like 10, 11 years old, it was songs like that stuck out to me. He had the song with Cisco, which is classic. I mean, that second verse, I believe it's the second verse on there where he goes through all the names of the girls, true or not. Um, hey, what's up? What's up, JJ? How's it going, man? Yeah, I did that chopper for my Patreon. I wanted to do his wanted poster picture. So that's what I did there. You good, man? That's what's up. I'm glad to hear it. I'm uh I'm just streaming about, talking about this one's gonna be just dedicated to DMX. I was gonna work on some merch today, and I could have done one of two things. I could have I could have tried a second attempt at the OBS and doing the digital art and showing, how to digitize stuff and then just set it up for print or something like that. Or I could have just started drawing a new picture with the intention of making it merch, for another T-shirt print or something. And I don't know, I just sat here contemplating too much today, and I know I was thinking about doing a DMX picture yesterday, so that's kind of I just landed on that one for now. I figure I'll get this instead of trying to think of a new idea or um, making a pass at the OBS again. I'll uh, I'll do I'll do the DMX picture, something that's for lack of a better term, like quick and easy for me, since I'm just like pulling reference from this image of him. So that way, it's a little bit easier. Whatever. Oh, do you not? You don't know who DMX is? I mean, I get it. You're in India. It would make sense. He's a rapper, but you don't know about him at all. Cause I can gladly, cause that's what I'm gonna be talking about this whole stream. So, um, yeah, if you Google it, the news you're probably gonna get is just talking about his death, cause he just died yesterday. Um, unfortunately. Uh, but yeah, I was getting into I was getting into my history with DMX and what he means to me. And like I said, this is just a tribute for him because just so much death, losing so many people. And, this guy struggled. He struggled a lot. So to lose him to his struggle at a time when we're losing so many people to a different struggle, it, it's a reminder of like, there's more than just like the COVID thing going on, but there's, people are still suffering. People are still going through, whatever mental illnesses they may have or, um, whatever. Whatever addictions they may have or just whatever problems existed before COVID existed. Yeah, so Yeah, rest in peace, DMX for sure. I was talking about how I was riding in my car yesterday, and because I drive a classic car, I could only listen to radio, and it was while I was driving that the DJ started playing DMX songs, and I was like, okay, cool, in support of him for being in the hospital, and then she started talking about him like he had passed, and I was like, oh no, he passed, he didn't make it, so that sucks. Um, But yeah, so I was thinking about it yesterday, and yesterday was a weird day for me as well, just outside of this. And so I was kind of in a weird funk by last night when I did my last stream last night. And then when I woke up today, I said, you know what, I could do the portrait. You know, I mean, the man's given so much, to hip hop, and hip hop has done so much for me that you know, I this is kind of like cool for me to do. Like I can enjoy this. Um, but yeah, uh, where was I? I was talking about I was in sixth grade when I was introduced to him about year 2000. I would have been about 10, 11 years old when his third album came out, and I listened to, that was the first album of his that I bought. I since then, bought all of his albums and listened to all of them, and I love him, and he's great. You know what I mean? He's one of the he's certainly a pioneering rapper. I mean, he's certainly, at least to me, like the face of Rough Riders. Rough Riders is kind of like the rap group that he hails from like New York and things like that. Especially in the 90s, you had so many rap groups. So Rough Riders being a prominent one of them, and him being one of the more prominent artists for it. Um, he was a big deal, and he he had a rough childhood. I believe he was like put into foster homes and things like that. So when he grew up and stuff, for better for worse, he had like addictions, drugs and things like that. Things I'm sure you can imagine, like foster kid, rapper, uh, just crime in general, and then like mental health and all that other stuff. So he's kind of always struggled with it, and I kind of watched him struggle with it forever. You didn't see it too much when because there was the time when he was like in movies and things like that. He did a movie with Jet Li and Aaliyah. He did movies with like Gabrielle Union. He, I mean, the man's a star. Man's a, he was a big figure, and then he kind of just slowed down. He put out like 5, 6 albums, and then solo albums, not to mention all the Rough Riders work he did and all the movies and everything else that he did. He made some of the biggest hits in hip hop, so I can only imagine um, how much residual uh, checks he would have received and things like that. So I mean, the guy was successful. So after a few albums, several albums, he uh, he just retired, and then it was that's kind of when all the problems started. Well, I shouldn't say started, but you know what I mean. Like that's when his addictions would come to light more because he would retire, so you wouldn't hear much about him. And then anytime he did pop up after that retirement, it was normally like he OD'd, he passed out, um, in a parking lot. He did this, he did that. Like it was always like drug related and things like that. And it was always a bummer for me to watch because it's like, you know, you love your heroes, and this guy's like a hip hop hero to me for sure. And to see your heroes fall and to see them struggle, and it just lets you know, like, at least for me, being so young, following him and things like that, it let me know, like, oh, they're just people too. You think of these superstars like they're larger than life and they're great, and they are, but they're still just people too. You know, they struggle just like you struggle, just because he can sell millions of records and have like number one songs and all the plaques and opportunities and things like that. Like it was his story that taught me that, oh, you can't really hate people or dislike people for being popular, for being superstars, or for being, you know what I mean? Because they're just people too. He was a constant reminder of that because, like I said, after he retired, that's when a lot of the, crap would happen with him. Uh, with ODs and things. Like he would just pop up from once or twice a year, and it'd be like, oh yeah, he's doing this and that, and everyone always wanted to hear from him more, but he just didn't want to work anymore. Like I guess when you're an artist and when you're done, you're done. He was done, and uh, in more recent years, the DJs Swiss Beats and Timberland, one from New York, and I believe Swiss Beats is the one that worked with Rough Riders, and then Timberland is I think he's from like Virginia or something like that. They're two big time DJs, and they started doing this thing of it's called verses, where they just kind of take much like a boxing match or something. They take two artists and they put their best songs together. So it's like 20 songs versus 20 songs, and they go back and forth and they play the songs, and you know you kind of pick a winner, you kind of don't pick a winner. I don't know. It's not that big of a deal. It's just more of a celebration of music to just remember the old classics and things like that. And at some point, like because they were doing all these verses and they were becoming bigger and better. DMX's name came up, and it was like who would go up against DMX, and because he had been out of the spotlight for so long, it was easy for people to just like kind of brush off the idea of him doing it. And um, it eventually happened. He eventually got someone to go against, and I thought it was perfect. They got him. They got him a versus with a Snoop Dogg, And you know how perfect is that? Snoop Dogg and DMX, Darkman X, Dogman X. So and yeah, it was beautiful because that was recent. That was his most recent exploit, um, and his last time really like in the spotlight. Um, so I'm just bringing that up to just say that I'm really happy that we got that. That we got that. That he got to do that. We got to see him one time. I remember watching like a Rough Rider documentary or something like that, and they were going over his like they would show concert performances and things like that. I remember being a kid watching watching the documentaries or whatever, watching the footage and looking at there we go. And looking at his performance, and this is when I was a young dumb kid, so I didn't see what was going on, and I probably hadn't been to a concert at that point, so I didn't know how to appreciate a live rap performance or anything like that. I remember very specifically that he on in his performance he has a song where it goes, I'm slipping, I'm falling, I can't get up. I'm slipping, I'm falling, I can't get up. I'm slipping, I'm falling, I can't get up. Gotta get back to my feet so I could tear shit up. Like that's the chorus of it. He has some of the best choruses. Um, you know what I mean? I just love his style. But either way, he I remember that song coming on, and it's such a classic song. And then I remember watching the performance of it, and I was in middle school at this time, maybe high school. I remember watching his performance and the way that he performed the song because everyone knows the song, but the way he performed it, it's the chorus goes kind of like how I was saying. It's kind of low key. He's not being loud or anything. He just goes, "I'm slipping, I'm falling, I can't get up. I'm slipping, I'm falling, I can't get up." Like it's really cool like that. It's not like crazy. And what ended up what ended up happening with that that live performance of that song. I remember watching this, and again, I didn't get this. He, man, the way he performs it live is not like how the song was recorded. When he performs it live, the man screams and shouts into the microphone. He goes, "I'm slipping, I'm falling. I'm slipping, I'm falling." Like he'll yell that shit. And I remember watching it and just thinking that it was odd. Like I was a kid, I didn't know. I was just like, "Oh, he's not singing it like the song." Okay, I guess whatever. Like I didn't know. I was just like a dumb kid. So like I was just like, okay, whatever. And he when I was watching him on the Versus live, and it was just like within the past year. It might have been earlier this year, honestly, unless it was last year, but either way, he did that Versus very recently, and I'm talking about that performance that I was just talking about was like 20 years ago, and he performed that song on the Verses, and he performed it the same exact way. And I was just like, holy shit. You got to think when he writes his songs where it's coming from. Because yeah, he could write the song and it means this to him, but when it comes to actually producing the song and you're working with a team and you have producers and you have editors and sound mixers or whatever, DJs, this, that, and the other. Like once you get everybody involved, it's like, okay, you wrote this, it's dope, and I hear you. He probably went into booth to perform it for the first time, and he's in the booth screaming, I'm slipping, I'm falling, I'm slipping, I'm falling. And they were like, that's cool. Can we get a take of you just kind of saying it cool and low key? Because this is what I'm thinking. And then they put on the beat, and it's a slow beat, and it's a soft beat. And, you have a chick in the chorus who's kind of doing it nice and easy, not screaming it at all. And, and they go, can you just like say it like, I'm slipping, I'm falling, I can't get up. Just say the words. You don't have to scream them. And then it's like, okay. So that might have been how it happened. Like I'm not in there. I'm just kind of going off the top of my head. But to see him perform that song that way, like I said, 15, 20 years ago, and then to see him perform the song the same exact way 20 years later, I was like, that's what that song means to him. That's what that means to him. Like, you know, it means so much to everybody else, and we all know the song. Like I know the song. It's I'm slipping, I'm falling, I can't get up, and it's such a, it's a good song. It's a really good song. Check it out. And and yeah, when you see someone like struggle, like he struggled. Like I said, he was in and out of hospitals. He was always ODing. You know, he always like struggled with drugs. He talks about it all the time. Um, so it wasn't like a secret or anything like that. And yeah, it it just gives you a little peek into the mind of the man of like, yeah, we love this guy. He's an amazing artist. He's great. But it gives people a reason to look at the lyrics a little bit more and, you know, and listen to the music just a little bit less. And I don't know. I listen to a bunch of musicians now because they're like doing podcasts and things like that. Rappers that I used to listen to around the same time as I was listening to DMX. And now they have podcasts, and I listen to podcasts all the time. And you listen to them talk about music, and I love listening to them because they're giving a different perspective the into music. I love music. I love listening to it. I love that song. And but I never had any insight into it. I never had any like attachment to it. I I would just listen to it. It's a really good song. And yeah, sometimes you fuck up in life and you can put that song on and you can remind yourself like, hey, I'm slipping, I'm falling. Got to get back to my feet so I can tear shit up. So I can get back on here. So I can stream again. So you know what I mean? Why am I not streaming? I could have came on here a couple hours ago and I just didn't. You know what I mean? I'm slipping. You can interpret it so many different ways, and everyone does. Um, but yeah, I'm just glad that we got to see a last outing for him, and to do it with Snoop Dogg. I mean, Snoop Dogg just being another legend. It's you know, it could be worse, where the last things we would have ever gotten from him were just news articles about him passing out and ODing and and you know his music wouldn't have been in the forefront. Like of course it would be. It would definitely be mentioned for sure. But you know, I think that Versus gave us a gift that we didn't know that we were getting. Uh, but yeah, you watch that Versus performance somewhere along the lines in there. He plays that song "Slipping and Falling, I Can't Get Up," and watch his performance on there. I'm sure you can find those old documentaries that I'm talking about where he plays, where he performs that live on stage and things like that. And you go watch his performance on that Versus. I'm telling you, it's the same. It's the same. And all that told me was like, damn, he wrote that from somewhere. Like obviously it was from within him. Obviously he struggled. Obviously it was there. But you never know how much these songs mean to people because at the end of the day, when we first receive them, it's like it's just a song. It's a hit. It's dope. So yeah, I like listening to those music podcasts because they'll break down lyrics or they'll just read the lyrics. And then when you just read a lyric and you take the music and the melody and the acoustics out of it and all that, all of a sudden, uh, you're, you know, it becomes poetry. And I don't know. I just, as a DMX fan, I just always wish the best for him. I wanted to see him do more features. I didn't need more albums from him, but I could have used more features, maybe some EPs or singles. Now that everything is singles, he had such a style that I don't know if anybody's doing it. It was like when we lost Nate Dogg. I don't think anyone's doing it like that anymore. I don't think we'll ever get that again. Just like I don't think we'll ever get Nate Dogg again. I don't think we'll ever get a DMX again. I mean, we'll get something, but it won't be, you know what I mean? Some people are just irreplaceable with their art and what they brought to the table. Um, but yeah, to to sit there and hear that, because that's what I'm always gonna remember about him. I mean, obviously, like all the dope music that he made, and I could listen to him forever. I still have those CDs. They're in a like a CD holder somewhere, and you know, it just means so much. It's going to mean so much more to me to hear that song "Slippin' and Fallin'" and to remember his performance of it. Because it already meant something to me when he was alive, and whenever I thought about it, that's what I would think about. I'm slipping, I'm falling. Man's a wild man, but man, you gotta love when people can bare their soul like that. Cause yeah, he's like, all right, I put the song out there, it's a hit, it's whatever. But when I perform it live, I'm doing me. Yeah, I don't care that little dumbass sixth graders are gonna be like, that's not how the song was recorded. That's not what it sounds like. Like he's like, y'all don't get it. I'm out here, man. I'm trying to get fucked up. And I got all these responsibilities now as an artist and a rapper, and I'm just trying to get fucked up and fuck these bitches. And I'm late. Maybe he's running late for interviews, or maybe his manager is constantly calling him, or maybe his friends are like, "Yo, he has to be constantly reminded of things." And he's just like, "Yeah, I'm slipping, man." He was very, very famous for adding prayers in the beginning or the ends of his albums, he would always do like a prayer song. And they were poetic, man. You sit here and you listen to a an album and with all these dope beats and Rough Riders, and it's all about like some thug shit, fucking bitches, robbing people, people getting shot and killed. And then and the song with the prayer, yeah, such a dichotomy there. And they weren't just like whack prayers. It wasn't like listening to a preacher or anything like that. It was like listening to like I don't even know, man. It was like listening to DMX just sitting there and telling you. And it's like, damn, even a guy who lived his life and has done what he's done, it's like even he's gonna take a minute out to try to be better and talk about it and then record it, share it to the world. And he made them dope. You know what I mean? Like a acapella performance. I don't know other artists who do that. I'm sure there are. I just don't know about them. You know what I'm saying? And that was something, at least for me, was unique to him. Cause I listen to all sorts of artists. Hell, I'm a big Bone Thugs and Harmony fan, and they definitely put like the church and gospel and shit like that into their music, and I recognize it. But I don't think they've ever put like actual prayers into their songs. Maybe like there might be a track out there or two, you know, but for the most part, like you can recognize the uh, the churchness in their music and in their performance. But DMX's wasn't like that. His was like, nah, I'm rough, rugged, and raw rap, and then um, after all that, you know I'm chill, I'm cool, I'm calm, and it was always beautiful because that's what you wanted from that's what you want from everybody. Like, yeah, everyone go out there, live your life, be happy, have those crazy times and do stuff, but also like come home. Like that's what matters, man. Come home, be with the family, like sit down, talk, chill. And yeah, just songs like those, they just constantly reminded you of things like that, and they were on every album. You can count on them. And yeah, it was it just sucks, but 50 years old, and I'm sure he probably didn't anticipate living past who knows when. You can only imagine how long ago someone like him had already started thinking like, man, I ain't gonna make it. I ain't gonna make it. So to have made it to 50 and you know, I never knew the guy. Like clearly. I never but never got to hang out with him or talk to him or anything like that. But there was something I noticed anytime I saw him live. He had And I still saw it on the verses most recently, and it was because he's been out of the spotlight for so long that it had been a long time since I had seen it. But when I saw him on verses, I was reminded of it, and I was like, oh, he's still there. I was like, he's still there. That's awesome. All right, so he just never wanted to rap anymore. Like he got out and he got out and he was done and cool and good for him. You know, when you see somebody and you see like, no, okay, I was worried because I hadn't seen him in a long time, but okay, he's still there. Uh, he something that I always kind of noticed. He kind of had like I don't even know how to explain it, but something like a childish nature about him. Something about him that you could still see the kid inside him. And I don't mean like the little or in a bad way. I mean that spark of interest that kids carry, that wide-eyed um, receptiveness that kids have uh, when they're dialed in. That was something I noticed on DMX, and I don't know. I really don't know how to explain it. It's kind of like he had a look in his eyes that was like he's having fun and he's here to have fun. And when I see that pop up, you know, you wouldn't see it in photographs or photo shoots or anything like that. You wouldn't see it in still images. I only ever saw it whenever you see him just live in a recording, but not performing. When he was just sitting there, just being him, just waiting for, you know, the opportunity when he's going to say something or whenever he has to answer a question or address something. But when he's just sitting there and he's just kind of listening and somebody else is doing something, like when he was like on the verses with Snoop Dogg, and you know Snoop Dogg's going to perform and he's going to talk and he's going to do all that stuff, and you know he's going to go back and forth with DMX, and you know DMX is, you know, being receptive to him, and you could see him when he's sitting there just listening to Snoop and letting him talk and things like that. Like he just has this spark in his eye, and it's like, oh my God, that's the kid, that's the foster kid, that's the you know, like you could see him. I always liked that about DMX. I remember, I don't know, the first time I saw it, because it wouldn't have been that long ago that when I saw actually watched like an interview and things like that. Things like that you didn't really see too much unless you went out of your way to see them. You know, 15, 20 years ago, the internet wasn't what it is today. I'm sure you can see everything now, but back then it's like you kind of just got whatever you got and you just accept it and live with it. And yeah, but I remember when I saw it and I was just like, oh, because you listen to his music and he's like, oh, he's a killer. He's gonna hurt you. He's gonna, you know, he's gonna scare you, whatever, whatever. And yeah, when you see that little spark of life in his eyes, it's kind of like, I don't know how to explain it, but it's like a wide-eyed look. And you know, he still had that in him, even when he did his last performance on the verses. Um, yeah, it it was good to see him like that, and you know, his history of going back and forth uh, with, you know, struggling with drugs and things like that. It was just like, you know, you may have thought like, oh, it's over. Like, you know, he's older, he's chill, he's like he's gonna make it. Like he's not making music, he's not being crazy, he's not doing nothing. Like yeah, he'll pop up with a OD or with a bad story or a bad headline every now and then, but I think he's, he seemed to be okay. He was definitely out of place, because he hadn't been there in so long. But like I said, it was always that performance of I'm slipping and falling. The way he performed it, when I saw that, I was like, no, he's not out of place. He's back. He's here. Um, like he's okay. And when he's okay and he looks good and I still see that wide-eyedness in him, it's like, okay, like I had a really good feeling about him. And it was, it's good to have good feelings about people. Like it's just, that's just it. It's nice. It's nice for those things to exist. So, all right, how do I want to start coloring this? I think I'll start with that just so I can get it out of the way. Um, so yeah, it was just really rough to hear about it yesterday. I was in the middle of driving. I was aware that he was in the hospital, but you just pray for him and you're like, It's not gonna happen. He's been in the hospital before. He'll be okay. He's gonna make it out. Like it's gonna be all right." And a couple days goes by, and then that's when I hear, like, nope. Like, it's like, nah, sorry, not this time. Not this time, kid. So, um, yeah, that's all I really have to say. You know, I was always a big fan of his. Always, always down to listen to him. Even to this day, his songs, you could just listen to him today. His songs will live on forever. Um, I don't know. Rest in peace, D. Rest in peace. Rest in power. All of that. I'm gonna miss you, man. I guess that's something I could talk about. I tweeted this when I tweeted about it when I heard about it yesterday, and I wasn't sure if I was going to. I wasn't sure if I was going to like do a portrait of him or not at that point because it was so fresh on my mind. Uh, I remember watching one of my first music videos with him, and I'm a big fan of Timberland boots. I wear Timberland boots. It's certainly hip hop inspired for me to do that. Um, so yeah, I do that, and I'd be lying if I said if it was anybody else but DMX who inspired me to wear them, man. Like he was awesome. You know, like DMX is kind of like he was the shit. He is the shit, you know? And you know, I have like a collection of Timberland boots that I keep on deck. Um, you know, I've worked at warehouses, so it kind of made sense to wear boots at a warehouse, things like that. Um, but yeah, I have those on deck and ready, and you know, there's never a moment where when I'm thinking about wearing them, and I'm not thinking about the music video of DMX stomping in Timberland boots, like like always, man. Like I just remember the imagery and looking at it and being like, that's cool. Like that's cool. Like I wanted to get Tim's just as much as everybody else did, and I can say like it was definitely DMX who got me on that. I don't know anyone and everyone else's story. I know a lot of people like to wear them. It's a popular brand and all that. But yeah, that was it, man. It was DMX. It wasn't anybody else. 100%. I'm sure there was like other like artists wearing them and in the, you know, in their videos and things like that. But I don't know. Something about, you know, it might have just been because he was the first one I see do it or that I recognized it, you know, like within the music video, in the editing and the cuts and all that other stuff. I wish I could remember like when it was exactly, but I imagine it must have been around year 2000 or before that. You know what I mean? My memories of the rap and everything that I was listening to back then is kind of hazy, just because one, it was so long ago. Um, you know, I think about like my first time ever like really seeing rap and all that stuff was like LL Cool J and like hearing the LL Cool J song on the radio and and seeing a Busta Rhymes music video. You know what I mean? Like those are some of my earliest ones, like Put Your Hands Where My Eyes Can See and Coolio's uh you know, I represent Queens. She was raised out in Brooklyn. Um can't I can't think of what the song's called right now. But like those are some of my earliest hip hop memories. But when it comes to like actually like listening and watching and learning and being aware of and being a part of, like Rough Riders was definitely there. And you know, because they had like Eve and Drag On, and you know, New York rap was just insane back then, like because everything was popping in New York, so it was all about the New York rappers. And you know, even like Big Pun and and like Terror Squad. So you started having like these hip hop groups popping up. But yeah, it was hard to like dispute Rough Riders and their lineup. But yeah, it was, you know, I wanted to get Timberlands, and it did make sense because, I'm in Florida. There's not really much opportunity for like snow, but it does rain. So I'll wear them when it's raining for sure. Um, I got my motorcycle license. I ride motorcycles and stuff like that. So it's like whenever I use those and I'm out for like an official ride, like I'm riding, like I'll for sure wear my some Timberland boots. Um, yeah, what else? All right, here we go. Oh, skin is so hard to render. I remember the first time I started working on skin and trying to like actually do skin without just making it a single flat color. Um, I was doing a picture of Bone Thugs and Harmony, and this would have been in college. And I remember working on the skin, and I was just like, okay, I'll just use like, they're black guys. I was like, I'll use a light brown and a dark brown, and I should be good. And I just was not getting the complexions right. It like I'm going off of photographs, and I'm looking at what I'm getting, and it was so basic. It looked so basic, and I was just like, okay. Um, I ended up having to use like 6 colors and like weird colors too, like oranges and greens and shit like that. And that's when I learned like, oh shit, skin ain't nothing to mess with, man. It may be a little, I don't want to say easier, but you know, it would be easier to apply and learn like digitally how to like color skin because you have more opportunity to like kind of mess up and just color over your old stuff. But when you're working traditionally, like I be doing, um, you kind of don't have the paper can only take so much medium before you start tearing into it. But yeah, skin is always difficult to render, and I don't know why I picked this photograph reference. I wanted to just do something that you know looked good. I mean, I'm always gonna remember him for that "I'm Slipping, I'm Falling" performance, and I don't really have a visual. I mean, often when I think about DMX, like if I just think about him randomly, what I like to think about is he did a movie with Gabrielle Union. I forget what it's called, um, but it was like him and Drag On. They were both in the movie together, and there's a scene in that movie where uh, they hop on top of a train, I believe, and then they have to like lay flat on the against the roof of the train, because it's a train sequence, so there's like all this stuff overhead and if you stand, you're gonna get knocked over. So they had to like lay flush against the train, and there's a scene where him and he's with Gabrielle Union, and they lay down flat on top of the train. He's on one end, she's on the other. They're facing each other, and he looks forward, and Gabrielle Union's like the hottest thing, and he could see like up her shirt, or he could see down her shirt technically, and you just get like you don't actually get to see her like her boobs or anything like that, but you get to see her cleavage. And I guess like they were just reluctantly working together at that time or something, like within the story of the movie. And so she looked at him and she was just like, ah, like like upset. And then he has this childish smile on his face, like just like, oh damn, that's some nice tits. And I'll never forget that smile. And that's the DMX that I like to think of when I think about him, is just him staring down Gabrielle Union's shirt and being like, damn, nice. All respect to Gabrielle Union. I think she like married to Dwayne Wade now, something like that. Yeah, I don't mean no disrespect. But yeah, it was supposed to be like a funny part in the movie, and I was mad young when I saw that. So yeah, it was funny, man. Mission accomplished. I remember it to this day. I don't remember the movie. It's probably like Cradle to the Grave or something like that. I don't know if it was like the Jet Li one. But yeah, it's I don't know why he didn't get more movies. I don't know if like maybe he was a problem on set. Maybe they just didn't like want him there. I don't know the reasons why he stopped music and performance. I don't know if it was like money or just like he was cool, if he was tired of like all the shenanigans. Like he strikes me as the type of guy who just didn't have time for play. You know what I mean? All that executive stuff and producer stuff and all that. Like this man was just a raw artist, and didn't hide from it, didn't shy from it. Like, hey, like this is what you're getting. Oh shit. This is kind of like a labor of love right here that I'm working on. So I'd like to just have this picture immortalized and have him immortalized for me and just remember him in a good way, man. Um, I liked in his verses performance with Snoop Dogg, he gave some insight into one of his songs. He has a song, um, "Get at Me, Dog." I think I talked about this on the last stream. Uh, damn, I need some water. He uh, he said that he got that saying "Get at me, dog" from Snoop Dogg when they kind of were like passing each other, and one was going this way, one was going that way, and they couldn't stop the talk, but they were like, "Yo, we need to work together. Like you're hot, I'm hot. Like let's do a song." And Snoop was just like, "Get at me, dog," and then they like moved on to whatever they were moving on to. I don't know if they ever did do a song together. I'm sure there's probably like fan made songs or something like that, but I don't know if I'm trying to think, if they ever would have. There we go. So, yeah, I hope this is nice. I don't think I've ever drawn a picture of DMX before. I don't anticipate or see that I ever will again. So yeah, I definitely want to give this everything I got right now. Portraits are hard. Okay. All right. Damn it. Dropping stuff. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna need to grab some colored pencils and smooth all this out. Oh, you know what? Wasn't it? Didn't I want to do a different color back there? Did. There we go. That took longer than I like. Where am I at? Now we can do this. It's funny, I'm sitting here working on this and I have DMX's songs stuck in my head, but I can't sing them. Not without getting canceled. Not that I'm, not that I'm popular or anything like that. Just if anybody ever saw this, it's like, cancel him. I will cancel him. So it's like I'm just sitting here with all the songs in my head. Thanks. Thanks, D, for all the music. Okay. Now what? Oh yeah. Actually, let me. Okay. Here we go. Man, got this salt and pepper beard. That's gonna be hard to capture. Right. When I started this, it was looking like DMX. Now that I'm ending it, it doesn't really look like him anymore. so disappointing because I'm looking at it like, man, what's making him not look like him? And can I fix it? Can I change it? Ah. Yeah, let me. Damn. Did I seriously miss all that? hope I can use this color. Go. My bad. I'm listening to Maximilian Dude in the background, so I know I kind of, me talking is taking a back seat and everything I'm working on. How we looking on? It doesn't look so bad on the screen. You know, I'm looking at this from a lower angle, so I'm not looking at it from the top down. So to me, it doesn't look all that good. But maybe that's just me being a little too self-critical or something. All right. What's today? The 10th, right? Yes. All right, there we go, man. That's gonna be it. This is my portrait of the beloved DMX. Man, I just want to say, I wonder if I should even throw up a DMX behind him or just let it rock. I just let it rock. You know, this is, I guess, just my final send off to the man. I just want to say, thank you. Thank you. You know, even in your death, you're going to teach people, show people, and make people better. People learned a lot from you through life and your life, and we all love you for it. Um, but yeah, man, rest in peace. Hope you find that peace. You know, you sure as hell deserve it, man. So thank you. And JJ, thanks for stopping by, man. Yeah, go learn about DMX. Go watch him. My first time learning about him was in his third album called "And Then There Was X." So you can listen to that, and then you'll be listening to what a childhood me listened to, and it would have been something of an introduction to him, especially since I was like buying albums at that time. So, but yeah, I definitely heard his earlier work, but it was like far few between in music videos and radio stuff. Not really, you know what I mean? I'm gonna miss you, man. I'm gonna miss this guy, but the legacy will live on, man. I just rest in peace, rest in power, prayers to his family, you know, and yeah. Where my dog's at?